There are people who, when you spend time around them, leave you feeling lighter, inspired, and full of energy. And then there are others who drain you without even trying, as if their presence alone weighs down the air around you. You might not notice it at first, but after enough interactions, something shifts in your awareness. You realize that whenever you engage with them, your mood drops, your thoughts become heavier, and a strange exhaustion lingers, even if the conversation was brief. It's not about being dramatic or overly sensitive, it's about energy. Everything in this universe vibrates at a certain frequency, including people. Some operate at a high frequency, radiating love, clarity, and peace, while others exist in a state of constant heaviness, carrying an energy that disrupts and drains those who are more attuned to lightness and growth. You've probably met people like this before.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons.
They may not even be aware of the energy they carry, but that doesn't change its effect. If you're someone who values peace, self-improvement, and emotional clarity, it's important to recognize the signs of a low-vibrational person, not to judge them, but to protect yourself. Because the more time you spend around them, the more their energy starts to seep into your own. This is why some people wake up feeling great, but by midday, after interacting with certain individuals, they feel mentally exhausted without even knowing why. Recognizing these signs isn't about cutting people off coldly, it's about awareness. Once you see it, you can make conscious choices about how much access they have to your mind and spirit. One of the biggest indicators of low vibrational energy is an addiction to negativity. These people are not just occasionally pessimistic, they live in a mental and emotional space where everything is a problem. Nothing is ever enough. And there's always something to complain about. It's not that they experience hardships, everyone does. The difference is that they don't seek solutions or growth. Instead, they feed their struggles, reliving them over and over, talking about them endlessly, and rejecting any perspective that might help them move forward. If you share good news with them, they'll find a reason to downplay it. If you express excitement about something, they'll remind you of all the ways it could go wrong. Their minds are wired to see obstacles before opportunities, problems before possibilities. The danger of being around this type of energy is that negativity is contagious. The human brain is highly receptive to external influences. Spend enough time around someone who constantly complains, criticizes, or focuses on what's wrong, and you'll start to absorb that energy. You might find yourself becoming more cynical, second-guessing your own aspirations, or feeling drained even when nothing in your personal life is actually wrong. The tricky part is that this shift happens gradually. You don't wake up one day suddenly negative, it creeps in, reshaping your thoughts little by little. Protecting yourself from this kind of energy doesn't mean being insensitive or avoiding people who are struggling. It means being mindful of how much of that energy you allow into your space. Some people are looking for solutions, while others are simply looking for someone to share in their misery. Knowing the difference is crucial. Another clear sign of a low vibrational person is their attachment to drama and conflict. Some people seem to attract problems wherever they go, but the truth is, they don't just attract it, they create it. They thrive in environments where chaos exists, and if there isn't any, they will manufacture it. They are the ones who always have a new enemy, a fresh betrayal, or a complicated situation that demands attention. Their relationships are rarely peaceful. Instead, they are filled with misunderstandings, fights, and constant tension. They find ways to turn small disagreements into major conflicts, and they struggle to exist in spaces where everything is calm and harmonious. The reason they do this is simple. They are addicted to the emotional intensity that drama brings. Just like some people seek peace and fulfillment, others seek emotional highs, even if those highs come from toxic situations. They may not even realize they are doing it, but their energy is drawn to chaos because it gives them a sense of significance. If you pay attention, you'll notice that they are often the common denominator in all the conflicts around them. They will tell you about how many people have done them wrong, how many friendships have ended in betrayal, and how they are always the victim of someone else's bad behavior. But there's a pattern. When someone is constantly surrounded by drama, it's not about bad luck, it's about the energy they bring into every situation. Being around this kind of person can be exhausting because their emotional turbulence spills into your own life. Even if you try to stay neutral, you may find yourself being pulled into their conflicts, forced to take sides, or constantly offering emotional support for problems that never seem to get resolved. And the more you engage, the more you become entangled in their energy. The healthiest thing you can do is set boundaries. You don't have to fix their situations, mediate their conflicts, or absorb their emotional chaos. You can care about someone without letting their storms become yours. Another major trait of low-vibrational individuals is their resistance to growth. These are the people who stay stuck in the same patterns, year after year, refusing to evolve, learn, or take responsibility for their lives. They may talk about wanting change, but their actions tell a different story. They blame external circumstances for their problems, refusing to acknowledge how their own choices contribute to their reality. They reject advice, dismiss new perspectives, and remain trapped in cycles of self-sabotage. Growth requires discomfort. It demands self-awareness, accountability, and the willingness to confront one's own flaws. But low-vibrational people avoid this at all costs. They would rather repeat the same mistakes than face the difficult truths that could set them free. Being around someone who resists growth can be frustrating, especially if you are someone who is constantly seeking to improve yourself. You might find yourself offering them insights, encouraging them to make better choices, or trying to help them see things differently, only to realize that nothing ever changes. They will continue to justify their stagnation, finding reasons why things can't be different, instead of looking for ways to move forward. And if you're not careful, their resistance can start to affect you. You might begin to lower your own expectations, settling for less, or feeling guilty for wanting more out of life. The reality is, you cannot force someone to grow if they are not ready. The best thing you can do is focus on your own evolution and surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you to be better. Another sign that someone is operating at a low vibration is their inability to express genuine gratitude. They take things for granted, focusing more on what they lack than what they have. No matter how much they receive, it's never enough. They compare themselves to others, always feeling like they are missing out, rather than appreciating what is already present in their lives. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational states a person can embody. It shifts focus from lack to abundance, from dissatisfaction to contentment. But low vibrational people struggle with this shift. They are caught in a mindset of scarcity, believing that happiness is always somewhere in the future, dependent on external circumstances. When you spend time with someone who lacks gratitude, their energy can make you feel like nothing is ever enough. You might start questioning your own blessings, feeling like you should be achieving more instead of appreciating where you are. This is why it's so important to cultivate your own sense of gratitude, independent of external influences. The ability to recognize what is good in your life, even in the midst of challenges, is what keeps your vibration high. Recognizing these signs isn't about labeling people as good or bad. Everyone is on their own journey, and we all have moments where our vibration fluctuates. The key is awareness. Once you see these patterns, you have a choice to engage or to protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to your mind, heart, and spirit. Your energy is precious. Be mindful of where you invest it. Low vibrational people don't always appear as obvious sources of negativity. Sometimes their energy is subtle, disguised under normal conversations, everyday interactions, or even moments of seeming kindness. But if you pay attention, you can sense the way they affect the environment. The energy in a room shifts when they enter. Conversations take on a heavier tone. Instead of feeling uplifted, people begin to feel irritated, anxious, or emotionally exhausted without even realizing why. This isn't about being overly sensitive, it's about being aware of how energy works. Every human being carries a certain frequency, and the more attuned you are to positivity and growth, the more you will notice when someone is operating on a much lower level. One of the most common ways low vibrational energy manifests is through constant victimhood. Some people move through life as though the entire universe is conspiring against them. No matter what happens, they believe they are powerless, that everything is someone else's fault, that they have no control over the course of their own life. They will tell you endless stories about how they were wronged, how they were betrayed, how unfair everything is, and how nothing ever works in their favor. And while it's true that bad things happen to everyone, the difference is that some people take accountability and seek solutions, while others remain stuck in a cycle of blame. They will find reasons why nothing can change, why every opportunity is out of reach, why their circumstances are uniquely impossible to fix. When you spend enough time around a person who operates this way, you start to feel the weight of their helplessness. At first, you might feel empathy, wanting to help, wanting to offer advice, wanting to lift them up. But over time, you realize that no matter what you say, no matter how much support you give, nothing ever improves. They don't want solutions, they want validation for their suffering. They want someone to listen, to agree, to reinforce the idea that their problems are bigger than everyone else's, and that they are justified in staying exactly where they are. The more you engage, the more you risk being pulled into their emotional stagnation. You might find yourself feeling drained after conversations, as if their energy is slowly seeping into your own mindset. Low-vibrational people also struggle with emotional regulation. Their moods are unpredictable, shifting rapidly between extremes. One moment, they may seem fine, and the next, they are snapping, complaining, or radiating anger for no apparent reason. Their emotions control them instead of the other way around. They react impulsively, saying or doing things without thinking, then justifying their behavior instead of reflecting on it. They don't take responsibility for how their energy affects those around them. Instead, they expect others to adapt, to tolerate, to absorb the emotional chaos they bring. This creates an exhausting dynamic for anyone who interacts with them regularly. If you've ever been in a situation where you had to carefully choose your words, predict someone's reactions, or walk on eggshells to avoid triggering an unnecessary outburst, you've experienced what it's like to be around someone who lacks emotional self-awareness. Their instability forces others to adjust, to shrink themselves, to carry the burden of maintaining peace in interactions that should be natural and effortless. Over time, this kind of energy can take a toll on your own emotional state. You might become more cautious, more anxious, more hesitant to express yourself freely, all because you are subconsciously trying to avoid unnecessary conflict. And this is exactly how low vibrational energy spreads, not just through words and actions, but through the way it forces others to shift, to suppress, to carry things that were never theirs to carry. Another unmistakable trait of low vibrational people is their inability to celebrate others. There are those who, when they see someone else succeed, feel genuine happiness as if that success belongs to them too. And then there are those who, even if they don't say it out loud, feel resentment, jealousy, or discomfort when others are thriving. You can sense it in their reactions, the forced enthusiasm, the subtle downplaying, the way they shift the focus back to themselves. Instead of being inspired by someone else's achievements, they feel threatened. They compare, they measure, they question why that success didn't come to them instead. Their energy carries an undertone of competition, even in situations where no competition exists. If you share good news with them, you might notice a strange energy shift. Instead of encouragement, you receive indifference. Instead of excitement, you sense a quiet resistance. They may not openly criticize your success, but their lack of genuine support speaks louder than words. Over time, this can create a sense of hesitation. You start second-guessing whether you should share your achievements, whether you should express your happiness, whether it's even worth talking about the things that bring you joy. And this is how low vibrations spread, not always through direct negativity, but through the quiet way they make happiness feel like something that should be hidden. Low vibrational people also tend to be highly reactive to external circumstances. Their emotions depend entirely on what happens around them. If things go well, they feel okay. If things go wrong, they spiral. They have no internal foundation of peace, no emotional stability that allows them to navigate difficulties with clarity. Instead, they are constantly at the mercy of their environment, allowing every inconvenience, every perceived slight, every unexpected challenge to dictate their mood. This makes them exhausting to be around because their energy is unpredictable. You never know what version of them you're going to get. The reason this is dangerous is that emotions are contagious. If someone is constantly anxious, fearful, or stressed, that energy radiates outward, affecting everyone they interact with. You might enter a conversation feeling calm, but by the end of it, you're agitated without even knowing why. You absorb their state of mind without realizing it. And this is why being around low-vibrational people requires constant energetic awareness. The most important thing to understand is that you are not responsible for fixing, healing, or carrying the weight of someone else's energy. It is not your job to absorb their negativity, to adjust yourself to accommodate their moods, or to limit your own growth to make them comfortable. Your energy is your responsibility, and the more you protect it, the more you will attract people who match your vibration. Setting boundaries with low-vibrational people is not about cruelty, it's about self-preservation. You don't have to engage in every conversation, react to every complaint, or entertain every drama they create. You can choose where to invest your attention, your emotions, and your time. Your peace is not something you owe to anyone, and the more you prioritize it, the easier it becomes to recognize when someone is disrupting it. One of the biggest shifts that happens when you start protecting your energy is that your sensitivity to low vibrations increases. You begin to notice things you didn't before. You see patterns, behaviors, and energy dynamics that once went unnoticed. This awareness is a gift because it allows you to make intentional choices about who and what you allow into your space. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Not everyone should have the ability to shape your emotions. The more you surround yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and bring clarity, the more your own energy elevates. Growth is a natural process, but not everyone chooses it. Some people remain where they are, resisting change, rejecting self-awareness, and repeating the same cycles over and over. That is their choice. But you have a choice too. You can decide to rise, to move towards higher frequencies, to align yourself with people who reflect the kind of energy you want to cultivate in your own life. And as you do, you will notice something remarkable. Your world begins to shift. The conversations you have become lighter. The spaces you occupy feel more peaceful. The relationships you maintain are filled with mutual respect and understanding. Energy is everything. The more you protect it, the more you attract what is truly meant for you. Low-vibrational people don't just exist in obvious negativity. Sometimes they disguise themselves as well-meaning friends, partners, or colleagues. They don't always attack with words or actions. Sometimes their presence alone carries a weight that dims your energy. You might not notice it immediately, but over time their influence starts to show. You wake up feeling fine, but after spending time with them, your mood shifts. You start questioning things you were once sure of. You feel tired even when you've done nothing physically exhausting. One of the most dangerous aspects of low-vibrational people is that they often don't appear destructive at first. Some of them disguise their negativity under the illusion of realism. They call themselves practical, logical, grounded. They don't see themselves as negative. They see themselves as people who are simply preparing for the worst, avoiding disappointment, and being honest about how life works. But what they don't realize is that their version of reality is based on fear, not truth. They operate from a mindset of scarcity, convinced that life is a series of struggles, obstacles, and limitations, and they will impose this mindset onto you if you're not careful. They will tell you that your dreams are unrealistic, that your optimism is naive, that expecting good things is foolish. And if you listen to them long enough, you might start believing it. There's also a specific type of low-vibrational person who drains you not through direct negativity, but through a constant need for attention, validation, and emotional energy. These people are not always toxic in the traditional sense, but they take more than they give. They are always in crisis, always in need of reassurance, always looking for someone to carry their emotional burdens. At first, being there for them might feel natural. You want to help, to support, to offer guidance. But over time, you begin to notice that nothing ever changes. No matter how much advice you give, no matter how much time you invest, they remain in the same patterns. They don't want to evolve. They want someone to absorb their emotional weight so they don't have to deal with it themselves. And the more you give, the more exhausted you become. Energy is not just about what people say or do, it's about how you feel when you're around them. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and walked away feeling like you just ran a marathon, even though you barely spoke? Have you ever spent time with a person and felt heavy, like something inside you was being drained without your permission? That's energy transfer. Some people, knowingly or unknowingly, take more than they give. They leave you feeling depleted, not because of what they said, but because of what they carried into the interaction. And unless you are conscious of this, you will keep giving, keep engaging, keep absorbing, until one day you wake up wondering where all your energy went. Not all low-vibrational people are loud about their negativity. Some are subtle. They disguise their energy under smiles, small talk, and seemingly harmless conversations. But if you listen closely, there's always an undertone of something heavier beneath their words. They might not openly criticize, but they make passive-aggressive comments that leave you second-guessing yourself. They might not start drama, but they always seem to be involved in some form of tension. They might not complain outright, but their presence carries an unspoken heaviness that lingers even after they leave. These are the people who drain you quietly, without obvious conflict, without dramatic outbursts, just a slow, steady siphoning of your peace. One of the most important things you can do is learn how to protect your energy without guilt. Many people struggle with this because they feel obligated to be available to everyone. They believe that setting boundaries makes them selfish, that distancing themselves from negative energy is unkind. But the truth is, your energy is your responsibility. You are not obligated to carry the emotional weight of others. You are not required to fix, heal, or tolerate people who continuously drain you. You can care about people without allowing their energy to consume yours. You can be compassionate without sacrificing your own peace. The shift happens when you start prioritizing how you feel over how others expect you to respond. When you stop explaining yourself. When you stop justifying your decisions. When you recognize that your emotional well-being is worth protecting, even if it means disappointing people who are used to having unlimited access to your energy. Some people will not understand this. They will accuse you of being distant, selfish, or uncaring. But that's only because they benefited from your lack of boundaries. When you start setting limits, you will see who respects you and who only valued you for what they could take from you. The more you raise your vibration, the more you will notice that certain people naturally begin to fade from your life. This isn't a coincidence. When you elevate your energy, you become less compatible with those who thrive in negativity, drama, and stagnation. They will either distance themselves because they no longer feel comfortable around your light, or they will try to pull you back down to where they are. This is where many people struggle. They start feeling guilty, trying to hold on to relationships that no longer align with who they are becoming. But the truth is, not everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. Some connections are temporary, serving a purpose for a certain phase of your journey. Holding on to people who no longer match your energy only slows you down. One of the clearest signs that you are outgrowing low vibrational energy is that you start craving peace more than attention. You no longer feel the need to engage in every argument, prove yourself to people who misunderstand you, or seek validation from those who don't appreciate you. You stop explaining your choices and start living in a way that feels right for you. You realize that not every battle is worth fighting, not every opinion deserves a response, and not every relationship is meant to be saved. The more you protect your energy, the more you attract people who match your frequency. You will notice that your conversations become lighter, your interactions more fulfilling, your relationships more balanced. You will begin to meet people who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, who bring clarity instead of confusion. And when you experience this shift, you will wonder why you ever tolerated anything less. Energy does not lie. Pay attention to how people make you feel. Notice who drains you and who energizes you. Be mindful of where you invest your time, your emotions, your presence. Not everyone deserves access to you. The more you honor your energy, the more you will attract what is truly meant for you. Low vibrational people don't just exist in obvious negativity. Sometimes they disguise themselves as well-meaning friends, partners, or colleagues. They don't always attack with words or actions. Sometimes their presence alone carries a weight that dims your energy. You might not notice it immediately, but over time their influence starts to show. You wake up feeling fine, but after spending time with them, your mood shifts. You start questioning things you were once sure of. You feel tired even when you've done nothing physically exhausting. This is because energy transfer is real, and not all energy is meant to mix with yours. One of the most common ways low vibrational people affect others is through passive negativity. Unlike those who openly complain or express their misery, these individuals subtly inject doubt and fear into conversations. They might not directly tell you that your dreams are impossible, but they will ask questions that make you second-guess yourself. They might not criticize you outright, but their tone, their hesitation, their lack of genuine enthusiasm, when you share good news, these things speak louder than words. Over time, these small interactions accumulate. You start hesitating before pursuing new opportunities. You start suppressing your excitement because you've learned that certain people won't celebrate with you. You begin shrinking yourself, not because anyone told you to, but because their energy conditioned you to believe that playing small is safer. Another trait that low-vibrational people share is an attachment to their own suffering. Everyone faces hardships, but not everyone holds on to them like a badge of identity. Some people wear their pain like armor, refusing to heal because healing would mean letting go of the very thing that defines them. They tell the same stories of betrayal, failure, and disappointment over and over, not because they are looking for solutions, but because they have built their identity around being the person who was wronged. They don't want to move forward. They want to stay in the cycle of victimhood because it gives them a sense of significance. And the more you engage, the more you risk being pulled into that cycle with them. Energy is contagious. If you spend enough time around someone who believes that life is unfair, that people cannot be trusted, that happiness is temporary and struggle is permanent, you will start absorbing those beliefs. You might not even realize it at first, but your mindset begins to shift. Your optimism fades. Your motivation weakens. You start approaching life with hesitation instead of confidence. This is why it's so important to be mindful of who you allow into your space. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone should have access to your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams. Some people will never celebrate with you, never support your growth, never encourage you to rise higher because to do so would remind them of their own unwillingness to change. Low-vibrational people struggle with emotional awareness. They react instead of responding. They lash out, withdraw, or manipulate without understanding the impact of their actions. They don't take the time to reflect on how their behavior affects others. Instead, they expect the world to adjust to them. If they are angry, they assume it's justified. If they are hurt, they believe others should fix it. If they are unhappy, they expect those around them to absorb that unhappiness. This creates an exhausting dynamic for anyone who interacts with them regularly. You might feel like you are constantly managing their emotions, trying to keep the peace, avoiding certain topics just to prevent unnecessary conflict. And over time, this takes a toll. You start prioritizing their emotional state over your own. You suppress your feelings, your needs, your desires, all to maintain stability in an environment that was never stable to begin with. Not all low-vibrational people are aggressive or confrontational. Some are passive, draining you in ways that are less obvious, but just as destructive. These are the people who always need something: validation, reassurance, attention, but never have anything to give in return. They live in a state of constant need, seeking out others to fill the emptiness they refuse to address within themselves. They might not be intentionally harmful, but their presence is exhausting nonetheless. No matter how much support you offer them, it is never enough. No matter how much time you give, they always need more. And the more you accommodate, the more they take. This is why boundaries are so important. Many people hesitate to set boundaries because they fear being seen as uncaring or selfish. But boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about deciding who gets access to your energy and to what extent. You can love someone and still limit how much of their dysfunction you allow into your life. You can care about a person and still recognize that their presence is harming you. Protecting your energy is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. The more you raise your vibration, the more you will notice that certain people no longer feel aligned with you. This is not a coincidence. Energy attracts energy. When you start operating at a higher frequency, those who remain stuck in lower vibrations will either distance themselves or try to pull you back down. This is where many people struggle. They feel guilty for outgrowing relationships, for wanting more, for choosing peace over familiarity. But growth requires letting go. Not everyone is meant to continue with you on your path. Some people were only meant to be in your life for a season, and holding on to them longer than necessary only slows you down. One of the biggest signs that you are elevating is that you no longer feel the need to engage in every argument, defend every decision, or explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop seeking validation from those who refuse to see your worth. You stop wasting energy on conversations that lead nowhere. You prioritize your peace over your need to be liked. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You start attracting people who match your energy. Your conversations become lighter. Your relationships become more fulfilling. Your environment feels more peaceful. Low vibrational people will always exist, but they do not have to exist within your space. The more you honor your energy, the more you will see who truly belongs in your life and who was only there because you allowed them to be. Pay attention to how people make you feel. Notice who drains you and who energizes you. Be mindful of where you invest your time, emotions, and presence. Your energy is your most valuable resource. Protect it.